Hello everybody, Andrew Casey at Hypersanity Books. Today we'll be taking a look at The Good Place, and the Michael character being the architect, living in an infinite crisis. Number 10, 4 Case Studies. The Season 1 premise, the 4 characters think they're in the good place, and it's the twist ending that comes in the end of Season 1.
Chidi and I are gonna go to the bad place.
What?
Trust me, I've got this. I thought to myself, man, this is torture. And then it hit me. This is the bad place.
Oh, man. I can't believe you figured it out.
Eleanor's the main character, and she is knowingly not a good person, thinking that there was a mistake and she's in the good place. Creating the conflicts between the 4 characters, the idea of the premise is to create situations of them working together, but to ultimately torture each other with psychological and social abuse. Number 9, unexpected human behavior.
You will spend eternity with murderers and arsonists and people who take off their shoes and socks on commercial airlines.
One thing Michael didn't account for was at a certain point, the Eleanor character takes responsibility in Season 1 for certain choices that she does not belong in the good place. So it seems. This added well to creating the subject matter of being in an infinite crisis. Number 8, the devil.
K-A-R-S, cars for kids.
Ooh, are we singing?
Shut up, Glenn.
The experiment didn't work out with this form of torture. Go back to the way things used to be with inflicting physical harm.
Attempt 57. Attempt 99.
Eleanor always seems to realize that they're in the bad place just at the moment.
Excuse me. Sorry, the door was open.
There will be no attempt number 3. So the premise of Season 2 is one attempt and keeping certain things to work out. But the characters keep figuring out.
Sean still thinks I'm on version 2. I just keep lying to him. It's really bad, but I have to keep trying. I'm in too deep.
This creates an infinite cycle again, where he is rebooting the neighborhood, going back to the beginning, wiping everyone's mind, and going through the process of what Season 1's premise was within Season 2.
I think we're in the bad place.
Jason figured it out? Jason? This is a real low point. Yeah, this one hurts.
He is in constant crisis, hiding what he is actually doing, rebooting the neighborhoods, and all the other demons are getting sick of it, which puts Michael in a more vulnerable position. Number 7, becoming the case study.
Now, his agreeing to help was part of my plan. What wasn't part of my plan was it actually working.
He's asking us for help, so we should help him. Because that's what Chidi would do.
You finally listened to reason.
On one condition.
Michael is keeping up this charade because if Sean is to find out that the neighborhoods aren't working to keep up the psychological torture, then it'll go back to the old-fashioned sense of torture, which means the 4 characters will be in the real bad place. So they're pretending to be part of the torturous scenario between various social issues, but on one condition.
The professor over here is gonna give us all lessons on how to be better people, including you.
Oh, no, I won't be taking any classes.
This is another form of torture for Michael because now he has to participate and study with everyone else.
Why don't you just tell me the right answer?
Well, that's what's so great about the trolley problem is that there is no right answer.
Number 6, existential crisis.
So is that what would happen if your boss found out that you defected to our side?
Yeah.
Okay, so that might actually happen. And if it did, there would be no more Michael.
Ultimately leading towards Michael's untimely demise and no longer exist.
No. Me?
Okay, now we're getting somewhere.
The philosophy classes broke him, and from this mental breakdown and existential crisis, eventually he pulls himself together to have a mental breakthrough. That's one of the other things we talk about with hypersanity. You can have a mental breakdown and eventually rebuild yourself to have a mental breakthrough. Number 5, near-death experience. Within the second season, he also is tested towards being an official part of the bad place and be recognised for his experiment. Michael escapes with the other 4 characters to go seek the intergalactic judge. So this is the possible representation of God within the story, being between the good place and the bad place to negotiate an alternative. Within the end of the second season, it negotiates that the 4 characters have near-death experiences and change a couple circumstances, so they are left to have a second chance in life to try to live out their life, to be a better person, to then go into the afterlife, to earn their place into the good place. Number 4, Doug Fawcett.
Every religion guessed about 5%, except for Doug Fawcett. Doug was a stoner kid who lived in Calgary during the 1970s. Doug just launched into this long monologue where he got like 92% correct.
On Earth, in Season 3, he's trying to find what is the answer for the best way to live your life to enter the good place.
No, I have my composting toilet hooked up to a water filtration system. One man's waste is another man's water, and both men are me.
The circumstance, they find out after travelling to the accountants that check through the numbering system to tally up your points, whether you're good or bad. Ultimately, in the last 500 years, no one has entered the good place, because no matter what we do in life...
There are so many unintended consequences to well-intentioned actions. It feels like a game you can't win.
He gave his grandmother roses for her birthday. He picked them himself, walked them over to her. She was happy. Boom, 145 points. Also gave his grandmother a dozen roses, but he lost 4 points. The flowers were grown with toxic pesticides, picked by exploited migrant workers. His money went to a billionaire racist CEO who sends his female employees pictures of his genitals.
There are a lot of circumstances that within the world being so messed up, how can we be good people? Number 3, who to turn to. He's turned to the Good Place Committee to try to help, but the Good Place Committee are more too good to the point that they don't actually do anything. And they're more worried about simple things like a basic conflict of interest to do anything, and they're going to have a team selected to try to help fix the point system of the afterlife, but it's going to take 400 years to come to that decision, because it's a big effort to come to that without being biased on opinions. So the other part is being too good to the point they don't actually do shit. The other problem that comes forward is presenting the facts to the judge, and she believes that Earth should be taken back to the beginning of time.
Earth is what now?
All humans on Earth and in the afterlife will be extinguished, and we will start the entire human race over from scratch.
Again, this is more torture for Michael.
And you know what's so funny? In a very roundabout way, I am actually rebooting Ally McBeal, because I'm rebooting everything.
There is nothing that he's able to do, and when he does resolve certain problems, Vicky comes along and takes care of the afterlife in a better way than what he did.
There's some problems with it, some technical issues that only I can see and everything. So basically, it actually kind of stunk. So I think it's just best if you leave, Vicky.
With this new social experiment. So it has become agreed upon that certain people and everyone gets that chance in the afterlife to see if they can personally develop and grow under a different environmental circumstance. Number 2, swindled by the Good Place Committee.
We need to find the committee.
The committee is me. I am committee. It me.
What?
They tricked me and put me in charge of the good place and then literally ran away.
Lo and behold, to find that the good place is left in an infinite crisis because everything is too good to the point that no one can move on with anything. With certain characters, someone wets themselves, but they're going to be fine. There's no need to go to the toilet. So there is also forgetting simple things like basic math, because characters are no longer learning to use parts of their brain. Yet again, Michael is in a position where he seems to be the one to be running the good place now, in a signed agreement that he was swindled into doing against his will, while the Good Place Committee dissolve itself to no longer have the problem of trying to fix the afterlife. So it's up to Michael again to try to fix a problem that no one else could fix. Working in with Chidi, it comes through different ways of setting out philosophy classes, and he comes up with a new system that allows people within the afterlife to experience certain things that they choose to, go through different doors, experience what they want to in the afterlife, and once they're satisfied and content, they can go through one final door to become space dust and become one with the universe.
The whole book is about how we should try to find rules other people can't reasonably reject, and then he ends it by saying, the search for how to find those rules will go on forever.
Number 1. Dangers of emotional content.
I proposed a rule. The Cheaties shouldn't be allowed to leave because it would make Eleanor sad.
Within the final episode of The Good Place, it's quite tragic because every character finds their final resolution, they become content, and then there is no more need for the afterlife. There is no more need to live. And there are different subjects I will touch on in another video about this subject matter, but for now...
Never find the justification for getting you to stay. Because it's a selfish rule. I owe it to you to let you go.
Michael is now in a crisis because he has formed emotional bonds with people, and then they're done with their life and move on, and he's left alone.
You can sit on that bench as long as you'd like. And whenever you're ready, you just walk through.
I'm ready.
Michael does go through one final transition to become human and go to Earth to live out some days, and then when he's done, he'll go through the system to go through his own test and earn his place in the good place.
You have no idea how long I've been trying to figure that out.
This is where the infinite crisis part comes in. He's going to constantly form emotional attachments to people, and they're going to come through and finish their life, and then he's left alone again, and he's going to see this monotonous task of people coming and going. And there is nothing he can do. He's stuck in an infinite crisis of saying goodbye to people that he loves, that he'll never see again, because they're stories that will never be told another time.
I'll say this to you, my friend, with all the love in my heart and all the wisdom of the universe. Take it sleazy.